Hello, my name is Leroy Blevins. Welcome to Mysteries and Histories. In this episode here, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the Malcolm Wallace fingerprint that's supposedly found on the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository in the JFK assassination. As people knows that I talk about this stuff all the time, I really don't like prying into other people's research or anything like that because I don't want to make no head waves between me and them. Okay, but we also have to look at the facts of, as a researcher, we have to push all these, we have to file through all these claims and stuff and find out what's real and what's fake so we can push the fake stuff to the side so we can reveal the truth and find exactly what took place on that day of November 22nd, 1963 in JFK assassination in Dallas. Now, for years, people talking about Malcolm Wallace, they found his fingerprint there. Now, the reason why Malcolm Wallace was brought into the mix was because of everybody wants to pinpoint the assassination of JFK on Lyndon B. Johnson. And the only way they can pin it on Lyndon B. Johnson is find a connection between him, LBJ, and the assassination of JFK. This is where Malcolm Wallace comes into the picture. What I'm going to do is I looked over the fingerprints myself and I found out that none of them really matched. Okay, Malcolm's fingerprints. But there's people out there said, no, it was studied by this and studied by that, and they proved that to be Wallace's fingerprints. But that was in the old thing. Now, if we look at the new one, like Joan Millen, excuse me, this is her right here. She had the test professionally done on that fingerprint that was found on the 6th floor of Texas School Book Depository. And they compare it to Malcolm Wallace's fingerprints, and professionally done now. There was no match whatsoever. And this was done in the recent files. Okay, she had this done to show, to see if it was 100% fact that Malcolm Wallace's fingerprint was on that Texas School Book Depository, and it wasn't. Okay, she went back and she wrote a book about this and everything else, and she even pointed out the facts that the people that did the matching up the fingerprints really wasn't qualified at the time when they made their claims. It wasn't later on till they actually became professionals. Okay, so with that in mind, we have to look at the fact of why was his name brought in. Why was his name mentioned or brought into it. Now, what I'm going to do is now this is off of Wikipedia, and anybody can go to Wikipedia and look this up. All you got to do is type in Malcolm Wallace and you'll pull up all the information and stuff like that. When we read this, okay, we have different stories, similar a little bit, but then more was added onto it, as I'm going to point out. First, we're going to go over this one. ESTA was also prepared to provide the United States Department of Justice information of 8 killings orchestrated by Johnson, including the assassination of JFK. He claimed that Wallace pursued Jack Ruby to recruit Lee Harvey Oswald, and that Wallace fired a shot that struck Kennedy. Okay, doesn't give a location, just says Wallace was fired a shot. A shot means one. Okay, and that he was hired to pursuit in Jack Ruby in recruiting Lee Harvey Oswald. Now, as I point out, Jack Ruby in his deathbed confession, and even in other stuff, Jack Ruby never knew Lee Harvey Oswald. Okay, so these are lies being put into, the false claims are being put back into this because they're going to keep on adding on. So what we're going to do, we're going to go on. Barb McClellan, author of Blood, Money, and Power. How did LBJ kill JFK? Retired many of the Estes claims, or retreat, excuse me, many of the Estes claims in 2003, stating that Johnson, Wallace, Estes, and Cliff Carter were responsible for the death of Marshall. According to McClellan, Wallace fired one shot at Kennedy from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository, then ran to escape. He stated that the fingerprint in one eyewitness, placed Wallace in that location, and that Wallace could be seen in a shadowy figure in a photo of the building, which I'm going to pull that up in a minute and show you. Okay, now as I point out here, first it's an eyewitness, meaning one, places Wallace in that location, and then the photo showing a shadowy figure looking out the window. Now we go on to 2000. That was in 2003. Now we're going to go in 2013. Roger Stone, author of the 2013 book, The Man Who Killed Kennedy, the case against Lyndon B. Johnson, which is LBJ, called Wallace Lyndon Johnson, professional hitman. Okay, so he called Wallace's Lyndon B. Johnson's professional hitman, and also said that Wallace shot Kennedy from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. Similar to McClellan's account, Stone said 6 eyewitnesses placed Wallace in the location, and that a fingerprint found on the box in the sniper's nest was his. Now in 2003, it was an eyewitness, meaning one. Then 10 years later, now there's 6 eyewitnesses placed Wallace in that location. Okay, when Wallace never even worked at that place, so how would anybody or any eyewitnesses, because the eyewitnesses, who were they? They're not going to tell you their names, but they're going to say 6 eyewitnesses place him there. And then they're going to say the fingerprint found on the box in the sniper's nest. In the beginning, no one knows where this fingerprint was at, or where they found this fingerprint at, anywhere. But then they place it on the sniper's nest boxes. Then they go ahead and say he took one shot. Okay, when there was 2 shots fired from that window on the 6th floor of Texas School Book Depository. So see, more stuff, as I point out over the years, more stuff gets added on to it, and they keep on adding on to it. It all depends what research is going. Well, a researcher will say, well, there's a little bit here, but let's add a little bit more drama to it. So add a lot more suspense to it, so people can buy this book. That's what they're doing, basically. Excuse me, my nose is, I'm trying not to sneeze. But that's what they're trying to do. So now we're going to look at that so-called, where McClellan claimed that a shadow figure is seen in the photo of the building. Okay, this is that image that he's talking about right here. He said that is Malcolm Wallace. That's Malcolm Wallace. Haven't we seen that somewhere before? And here's another image that they claim. As you see, they got a circle. That's Malcolm Wallace. That looks so familiar, don't it? Well, let's go to the Dillard image, because that's where that image came from. And who is actually in that image? Who's actually in that window? Well, I don't know about you, but I see Oswald. So see, they're going to sit there and tell us, the people, they're going to take a grainy photo, which is blurred because of this is a photo they've taken out of a newspaper or out of a magazine, which is going to not really be high quality in print. Okay, they're going to say this is Malcolm Wallace. Okay, without instead of going further into an investigation and say, well, let's get a copy of this original copy, or let's see the original image to see if that's actually Malcolm Wallace or not. But no, they're just going to go ahead and make that claim because there is somebody standing there. Don't get me wrong. So they're going to use this as Malcolm Wallace, but it's not. Like I said, there's people, as I read over some of the stuff there, only prints was found in a sniper's nest, and this is in the reports and everything else. Only prints were found was Oswald's palm print on the car cannon rifle. Only his palm print. Then Oswald's index finger, which I'll zoom in. Oswald's right index finger, found right here. Oswald's left palm print, found right here. Oswald's right palm print, found right here. And then the bag, found right here. And then the two bullet casings, which I discovered the fingerprints on the bullet casings, me and Guy Cooper. The bullet casings right here. These are the bullet casings. This is the location of those bullet casings, and it has Oswald's right thumbprint on it. Now, that fingerprint that they talk about, no one knows. There was a fingerprint found. There was, a fingerprint found there that didn't match anybody that worked there or anything else, but it didn't match none of the police officers that was on that floor and that level and everything else. But we cannot just look at that one fingerprint, because we got to sit there and say, well, we can't pinpoint at this person or that person, because they're going to say, well, that's got to be Malcolm Wallace, which is false, because I even looked over myself, and you can even see a lot of claims and stuff like this. Okay, these are not the same fingerprints, okay, that they want to claim it to be. Okay, they're going to say, well, there's so many points you got to look at right here, right here, right here, and we can see right here, which we really can't. Okay, we really can't. This is a different fingerprint than this one, because I can point out a lot of things in these fingerprints to show there was a lot of difference in between both of them. Just like right here, if you see this coming up and this coming up, if you watch my cursor, which, let me see if I can zoom in on that. See if we can, well, it won't let me zoom in on it, don't know why. But when we look at this, we can see this coming up, and then we have the curves right here. We don't have that here. It's coming up more over here. And then there's a gap in between here, and gap in between here, gap in between here, gap in between here, which this is full solid going all the way across. So we could tell these are not the same fingerprints. Anybody can actually, you don't have to be a professional to figure that one out, that they're not the same fingerprints. But I wanted to make a video on this because, people keeps on asking me this or asking me that about, well, what about Malcolm Wallace's fingerprint that they found in a sniper's nest, and the claims that they took a shot. Okay, as I've proven, Lee Harvey Oswald was on the 6th floor of Texas School Book Depository, and he was in a sniper's nest. Okay, he took 2 shots that day, which can be proven by photographic evidence and other evidence I've collected. Okay, there was only 2 shots came in from the right, exiting out to the left, and that was the 2 shots that came from the Texas School Book Depository on the 6th floor. But people want to place Wallace there, but they're only having him with 1 shot. 1 shot to JFK, 1 shot to JFK. Okay, but where's the other shots come from? Do you see what I'm saying? They're going to sit there and say, well, they're going to try to work it in to where these 2 guys here, all right, they're talking 1 shot to JFK, which is the one Malcolm did. Well, we know he took a shot to JFK, and he took the shot to JFK. What they're going to tell us, James Files took the fatal headshot to JFK. This is supposedly Charles Harrelson right here, supposedly, but it's not. Okay, this is James Files, but this is not Charles Harrelson. But they're going to say this is Charles Harrelson. He took the throat shot to JFK, and then we have James Files that took the fatal headshot to JFK, and now we have Malcolm Wallace taking a shot to JFK. Okay, so we have Malcolm Wallace, supposed, I guess, would be taking a shot to JFK's back. We got this guy here taking the shot to JFK's throat. And we got this guy right here taking a fatal headshot to JFK. We're still missing some shots. What about the shot to the curb where James Tague was standing? Where's that one at? What about the shots to Governor Connolly? Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, this is why everybody's getting so confused when it comes to JFK assassination, because no one can make up their minds. All these researchers are telling a different story, or they're adding more on to these false claims and stuff. Everybody's getting confused. Like I said, we're going to sit here. We can sit here. And I just pointed out this. Okay, we got Mr. Wallace, which I had his picture here, which I guess I don't now. I must have got rid of it. But anyway, we have Malcolm Wallace taking a shot to JFK, as they want to portray it. And they said his fingerprints there, which was proven it's not his fingerprint. Okay, which is proven that he's not in this image right here, the shadow image. That's Oswald, which I proved that as well. But now we have 3 guys We got Malcolm Wallace on the 6th floor of Texas School Book Depository. Then we have James Files here, and we have Charles Harrelson here. That's who they claim that this is to be. We got him taking fatal headshot, him taking throw shot, and then this guy up here, Wallace, is taking a shot to JFK. Where's the curb shot? Where did that come from? Where's shot? How did Governor Connolly got shot? Where that magic bullet fits in their story? Now it don't. Do you see what I'm saying? So this is why everybody is so confused today, because there's so much false claims going out there. Too much is going on. James Files, which I've proven, and I show this. And like I said, I don't like making videos like this because, you know, one, it does get people upset because I'm proving their theories are wrong. Two, they're coming at me and say, you know, well, you shouldn't be saying this or you shouldn't be saying that. Okay, but we have to go over this evidence. We have to reveal it. We have to show the truth. How's this case ever going to be solved when there's too much false accusations going on out there? We have James Files going around saying he took the fatal headshot to JFK. And then we got these people on Dealey Plaza saying, showing this image here, which what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this one up and then James Files back up. We have James Files story. Said he took the fatal headshot to JFK. Okay, he took the fatal headshot to JFK. Does he mention anywhere in the stories that Charles Harrelson was just right with me behind that picket fence? No, he doesn't. He doesn't say that. He just said he was the only one behind that picket fence. He took that fatal headshot to JFK. But now we have these people that's in Dealey Plaza every single day telling the story, saying, showing this picture, saying, right here is James Files. He was standing right here and he took that fatal headshot to JFK. And this guy next to him is Charles Harrelson. You might remember him because he's Woody Harrelson's father, and he took that throat shot right over there behind that picket fence. Right over there. James Files didn't say Charles Harrelson was with him. He don't even mention that about Charles Harrelson. Okay, but there's other people tells a story that Charles Harrelson took the fatal headshot to JFK. So who we got to believe? So we have to present this stuff. We have to show this stuff to prove who was telling the truth and who was not telling the truth. As I point out here, when you even go to Wikipedia, and this brings up red flags. First, we got, Wallace, Malcolm Wallace pursued Jack Ruby into recruiting Lee Harvey Oswald, and Wallace also fired a shot that struck JFK, but it doesn't give no location. This is by Estes first, talking about it, and then we have another man that comes along and adds more money to, adds more to the story, which is McClellan, author of Blood, Money, and Power. I hope I pronounced their names right. If I didn't, I apologize for it. Now he adds more to the story, to where he places Wallace. According to McClellan, Wallace fired one shot at Kennedy from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. Now he's placing him in a location. And then he's going to add on, well, he could be seen, Wallace can be seen as a shadowy figure in the building of the photo of the building. Okay, so he added more onto the story. And he's claimed an eyewitness, a fingerprint and an eyewitness states. One eyewitness places a Wallace there. And then we go on a little bit more years down the road, and now we have Roger Stone in his book, The Man Who Killed Kennedy. He's adding Malcolm Wallace into it. Okay, but they're not showing us no evidence that actually that's Malcolm Wallace in that Texas School Book Depository. They're going on theories. And he's going to replace 6 eyewitnesses, placing Wallace there now. 6. It went from an individual 1 to 6 within 10 years. Excuse me, you see what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. When it comes to doing research, they can't make up their mind. Okay, they add more to it, as I showed. The babushka lady turns on a light. Okay, this is very important information here. We could see in the Zapruder film, they claim they study these films. They claim they go over these films time and time again. One guy claimed he studied the Zapruder film more than anybody did. Okay, he didn't see this like, come on, seriously? Okay, Beverly Oliver claims she's the babushka lady. which is a proven fact she's not the babushka lady. Okay, was she there? We can't even say if she was really there that day or not. Okay, but she claims she's the babushka lady. She's got a book out, so she's making money. She's going to these conferences and stuff and telling her story and stuff like that. You know, but she's not the babushka lady. Okay, we have Judith Baker going around selling her books and telling her story. Okay, that Lee Harvey Oswald, she was his lover and all this stuff. Okay, we got all these people coming up with all these stories. And they didn't get nowhere when it comes to JFK assassination. Just like Malcolm Wallace. Where is the evidence to show that Malcolm Wallace was there? There is none. They say, well, his fingerprint matches. No, his fingerprint does not match that one individual fingerprint that was found there. Does not match. No one knows exactly the location or what box or anything else where that fingerprint was found. But they do have it marked down. See, this is another thing gets me. They do have it marked down, the palm print on this side of the box right here. The index finger pinpointing the location and where that was found. The palm print right here where it was found. The bag where it was found. So I place all this evidence back in its place. They write this down in reports of all this. But where in the reports does it state that one fingerprint, where was it found at? What box was it found at? What location? The location of the 6th floor sniper's nest was added into the story. It just said it was just found on the 6th floor technical book depository. That was it. An individual fingerprint was found on that floor. That was it. It didn't specify what location or what box. How do we know they didn't find it by the boxes over here where Oswald placed a rifle? Wouldn't you figure they'd be checking these for fingerprints and stuff since the rifle was there? So it might have been on one of these boxes over here, or on one of the boxes where that where the bullet clip was found. Okay, it's not specifying where these fingerprints were found, except for Oswald's. It does specify where its location it is, but that one fingerprint, there's no location, just the 6th floor tech school book depository. That's it. One fingerprint in that location. Okay. But they want to say, no, that's Malcolm Wallace, which there's no evidence to back it up because it's not even matching his fingerprints. So that eliminates him. We know that this guy right here, that the one guy wants to pull out and said, this is him staring out the window. Again, we can eliminate that because we know that for a fact today that that's Lee Harvey Oswald, as you see right here. This is that image, and we see Oswald's face there. Okay. So we eliminated that. We eliminate the fingerprint. We eliminate that because even, like I said, Joan Mellon did have it professionally done and professionally tested, and it was not Malcolm Wallace's fingerprint. Okay, so it was professionally done. So you don't have to take my word for it. It was professionally done. So we eliminate the fingerprint. Okay, we eliminate the fingerprint. We eliminate the image. Okay, there's no names of eyewitnesses as seen and placed Wallace there. That was just a story, like I pointed out. It went from 1 eyewitness to 6 eyewitnesses within 10 years. Okay, it was added on to the story. Okay, so you see there's no evidence to prove or show Malcolm Wallace was on the 6th floor tech school book depository, or if he was even in Dallas that day. There's no evidence to prove it. They just want to come up with another story. They're trying to figure out a way to pinpoint and blame Lyndon B. Johnson for the assassination of JFK. So they have to go and over everything to try and connect the dots and place somebody there that Lyndon B. Johnson knew. That's why they use Malcolm Wallace. Well, Malcolm Wallace, okay, he was, as you want to put it, Lyndon B. Johnson's hitman. Well, if we could place him there at the scene of the crime, then we could say Lyndon B. Johnson was behind it because now we have evidence that Lyndon B. Johnson was behind it. But they had to place him there first. So they're going to make up the false stories and all the lies and stuff just to pinpoint him there so they can cover over the story. So if Malcolm Wallace, this is what I'm trying to point out to people, if Malcolm Wallace was not there, okay, that's not his fingerprint, and that's not him looking out the window, and there's no eyewitnesses that really seen him there, that means that proves their case was wrong, wasn't it? Okay, When you go to a court of law, you better have the evidence to prove your case, which they don't. Nobody has the evidence to prove their case except for me. I'm the only one who has the evidence to prove the case of what really took place that day. Nobody else has it. So all they have is stories to tell. That's all they have is stories to tell. They have no evidence to back it up. So that's why I sit there and I tell people each time, every day that goes by, the JFK assassination eventually, within the years to come, is going to be a fiction story. It's no longer going to be history. It's no longer going to be reality. It's going to be nothing but a fiction story because, like I said, they're eliminating people and stuff because when I point these stuff out and I show my evidence and I present the evidence, people want to dislike me or hate me because I'm proving somebody wrong. Okay? I'm not proving really nobody wrong because, yes, there was a conspiracy. Okay? Let's go with that. There was a conspiracy. There was more shots fired. This is what I don't understand. They want the evidence to prove there was a that there was a conspiracy. They want the evidence to prove there was more than one gunman there. I found it. But they don't want to help me present it. They don't. Why? I don't get why. Because they would have to sit back and say they was wrong. That's the reason why. And they don't want nobody to know they was wrong. But like I said, if you're wrong, admit it. If I'm wrong, I will admit I'm wrong. Okay? I will admit I'm wrong. Okay? But I'm not. There's things, that's why I keep on continuing on looking and looking and looking. Just like, people wrote me about Malcolm Wallace, and I'm sorry for this video to go long. It's best because people has to understand, if Malcolm Wallace was eliminated, that means all these stories right here are false. Okay? That's false information. If James Files did not take that fatal headshot to JFK, that means the story he's telling is false. So there's another thing that's false information. And then we have Beverly Oliver claims she's the babushka lady, and she tells her story to these researchers. This is what gets me to these researchers, like Jim Myers, which is was an excellent researcher, God rest his soul, to Robert Groden, which is also a good researcher, which like I said, I have nothing bad to say about none of these researchers, but they're fed false information by these people, okay? By these people that are fed false information, and it's messing up their case. It's really messing up their case. So now this stuff can be proven now because of all these false claims are out there. They want to back her, and they want to back Judith Baker, saying David Ferrie and stuff, okay? That she was Oswald's lover, okay? There's no evidence to prove that she was Oswald's lover. There's no evidence to prove that she knew these people or anything else. It's just a story, okay? It's just a story, okay? We could prove their stories to be wrong, okay? People's now coming to reality part about, well, yeah, we can see that she's not the babushka lady, Beverly Oliver. Yeah, we can see that Judith Baker is not telling the truth. And yeah, we can see James Files is really not telling the truth. So you see, makes you wonder how much more false information is out there. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why I present my research. That's why I wrote the book Evidence of Conspiracy, because if you backtrack of when I start presenting my evidence for the first I started my investigation in 2005 in the JFK assassination. I started making my post 2 years, which was 2007. My first book did not come out until 2014. 7 years. Now, remember this, 7 years I presented my evidence for free. And I still do today, but I never wrote a book or nothing about it. And people kept on telling me, well, they're not going to take you seriously. And researchers told me this. People's not going to take you seriously unless you write it and put it in a book. Then people's going to start recognizing you, and then people's going to realize to take you seriously. Okay, so I wrote the book. And I wrote a couple other books along the way as I'm doing more investigations. Because remember, I was still doing my research. I was still doing my investigations. And there was more information I had to find, so I had to put that in there. And so eventually, after everything was said and done, I wrote Evidence of Conspiracy, which has my complete research, which is all my books in this one book, Evidence of Conspiracy. But still, I got people that don't even read my book, which, I've pointed this out. They don't read my book They just give it bad ratings because of my YouTube videos, which I don't understand what's wrong with my YouTube videos. Because the YouTube videos showing facts and showing evidence and everything else, but they give it bad ratings, and they're trying to still not have people talk about me. But again, like I said, when we got all these false stories, and again, Malcolm Wallace is another false story, another false claim is made in the JFK assassination. This is why the case will never be solved, because of this. And this is the reason why I have to start making videos to prove and show the facts and prove that these stories are false and stuff, so we can finally eliminate all them false stories, so we can finally get this truth revealed into the JFK assassination. But anyway, I just want to make this video here because I wanted to make a video on Malcolm Wallace and the fingerprints. Okay, I've been thinking about it for a while. Someone wrote me yesterday and asked me to do a video on it. Now, I'm going to make one on it this week, I said. Here it is. Malcolm Wallace was not on the 6th floor Texas School Book Depository. That was not his fingerprint that was found on the 6th floor Texas School Book Depository. As I point out, Malcolm Wallace was brought into it because of Lyndon B. Johnson, because everybody wants to point the assassination of JFK on Lyndon B. Johnson, so they had to find somebody to make a connection. I also pointed out other facts when they told the stories, which you can go on Wikipedia and read for yourself, as I point out. All you got to do is type in Malcolm Wallace's name and go to Wikipedia, and you'll find this information here, to where I point out where we see one right here telling a story about Jack Ruby and stuff, and Wallace firing one shot. And then we have another guy coming along and more to the story and saying that we can see his image. He's found one eyewitness that places Wallace there, and his Malcolm Wallace's image can be seen in the building photo, which was the Dillard image, is what he's talking about. Now we have Roger Stone placing Wallace there and his fingerprint there, and 6 eyewitnesses, okay, placing him at the location and in the sniper's nest. The other one wasn't the sniper's nest, just placed him there, okay, but now Oliver Stone places him at the sniper's nest. And like I said, and more gets added on to it, and then the fingerprints in the sniper's nest. So you see what I'm saying? They add more to it as the years go by. Okay, so they can sell the book, so they can make the money, so, they're geniuses and whatever you want to put it. But I wanted to make this video here to show people, as you see, that wasn't the image that they was talking about was Wallace. Well, it wasn't Wallace, it was Oswald. Okay, Joan Mallon, she already proved that it wasn't Malcolm Wallace's fingerprint. Okay, so I give her credit for that. That's why I said I don't take credit from nobody else. So don't forget that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to tell your friends about us. And everybody have a pleasant day. Thank you.